I am back, and we are going to be working on Remake.js today. Also, probably taking some questions and maybe doing like a little tutorial on Remake. I think actually that's going to be the main thing today. So I'm going to create like a little to-do for the stream, um, just of like things I want to cover today. So the first thing I would like to do is like a few improvements. Um, and then I would like to make a multi-choice story adventure application. So we'll design that first, and then we'll probably build it in something like the Spectre CSS framework. And I'm still not like super comfortable with Spectre, so I'll probably like look through the Spectre docs. Yeah, and let's see. So yeah, there's this one thing I want to do first though. Sullivan, what's up? I think you're the first one in here. Oh wow, that's awesome. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you're the first one in here. How's it going today? What are you up to? And yeah, I'm excited to be streaming today. It's like I wasn't sure I was going to be able to make enough time to do it, but luckily. Oh yeah? Oh man, I'll have to start earlier next time. I like keep meaning to start around 11, but then there's like all kinds of stuff I have to do to prep, and yeah. But yeah, I'll try to start more regularly on time. Um, but yeah, so like my regular job is supposed to be over yesterday, but I had to work on a big project, and so I think I have to work on my paid job today too, which kind of stinks, which is why I'm only doing a 2-hour stream today. You're working on bits and bobs in the code, so everything is smooth, even outside my transaction stuff. Oh, by the way, I totally forgot to raid your channel last time at the end of my stream. I'm sorry about that. I meant to do that. But yeah, today, if you want to stream, or anytime in the future you want to stream, right after or during mine or afterwards. Oh, you didn't stream. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Yeah, well, just let me know if you're planning on streaming after mine. Just a reminder would be good because I tend to forget things. It's kind of, yeah, not great, but uh, yeah, I might forget. But if you're streaming like today or tomorrow, let me know. Oh yeah, I hope you're getting paid for that. Um, oh, okay. Oh, that stinks. Well, I think I should still like raid a fellow programmer's stream, you know? Like I think that would be a good thing to end the stream with usually, you know? Um, so yeah, maybe I'll try to remember to do that today. Um, oh, that's awesome. That's great. Oh wait, Ice Cream Code said that. Oh, okay. I thought you were solving for a second. Um, so you didn't start a new job until the 29th. Huh, that's awesome. Congrats on the new job, Ice Cream Codes. Is it around where you are, or is it a remote job? Okay, nice. Yeah, Salvin, just let me know. That would be wicked, wicked cool. Um, so I talked with um, I talked with someone this morning who is like an experienced developer, like you guys, and I took him through Remake, and he really liked it. And I'm excited to like, I might work with him, like, and like see if I can improve Remake based on his feedback. Um, it's where you are, but you get to work remote half the week. The team is spread out across several states. Oh, that's awesome. That's the best situation. I love working remote. I think that's so cool. Um, yeah, it's just like so convenient, and you get to like operate it on your own schedule. I think I think it's normal to get like a lot more done when you're working remote, even if you're not like working all 8 hours, just because like you're where it's comfortable, you can just like go for a walk, you can take a rest, whatever, and then you just like get back to work. You feel so much more refreshed than just having to like work the whole day, just like, like it changes your whole perspective, It's pretty cool. Um, okay, so let's see. I wanted to add something to remake.js real quick. But most of today I'm going to be working on a like a new web app. So right now we have TaskFellow, we have the To-Dos app, and we've got Blipcat. And I want to make a new app. And it's been kind of stewing for a while. So if I can spend most of today on that, that would be really fun. Um, but it's going to be like a multi-level like story. So like um, So like the idea is that you have like some text that describes a story, and then you have like a series of choices, and then you choose one. Like based on the choice you choose, you go down a different path. And so like this path can lead to like one of three paths over here, and then the story might go along. There might not be as many paths to choose from here. There might just be like a continue button, but then like down the road, this might split off into, a total of, 6 or 7 different stories. So that's the basic idea. I don't know what you call that. It's like a choose your own adventure, I guess, type thing. But yeah, just building an app for that. I think it's a pretty good idea. I'm not sure Remake will be good for it, for building this type of thing, but I brainstormed it a little bit, and I think it might work. Yeah. But first, let's go into Remake itself. Hey, Tade, how's it going? Is that how you pronounce your name? Um, how are you doing? What are you working on? What do you like to do? Are you a front-end developer, back-end developer? Do you like JavaScript? Do you hate JavaScript? Okay, so we've got these watch helpers. And there's just one thing I want to do. Let's see. I need to find the defaults. Where do I put the default watch helper? I forget. Let's see. So call multiple watch. I think it's just in watch helpers. There must be a default one. So here, let's see. I think there's a star somewhere here. Yeah, okay. So I call the star watch helper, but I don't have to define that watch helper here. So I don't know where it is. Okay, so let's go into the source. Hey, Commander Root, how's your day going? Let's see. Here it is. Oh, it's in the options, of course. So it's a default option. So here we have a bunch of like default element properties that we can edit with a watch function. So by default, like if you have a data w key like name or whatever, right? So say you're watching this like name property, and you want to like do something whenever this key changes. What you would do is you put like a custom function inside of here. And then you could call whatever function you wanted with the new value for this data. But if you don't want to call a custom function, what it will default to is like setting a property on the current element. So you could just put in like inner text here. And if inner text isn't a function, then it'll default to just setting the inner text of this element to whatever the new value for name is. And you could do the same thing with like inner HTML or all of these ones up here. So the ID, the class name, the type, the source, the value, whether it's checked or not, the style, the title, alt, for, and placeholder. Now the problem we run across is with style. So style is usually like a multi-level property. Like usually when you're setting style, you want to set like style dot background color, or you want to set like style dot font size. And this doesn't support that yet, because right now all we're doing is we're passing the function name, which, you know, in this case is just, you know, like a name, right? It can't, if it has a dot in it, so if it's like style dot font size, then, you know, if we pass this string in here, that's not going to work, right? Or at least, yeah, that shouldn't work. Yeah, no, that definitely wouldn't work. Unless you never know sometimes, right? Sometimes browsers like will do crazy things for you because enough people have done them. But yeah, let's just confirm. I'm like 99% sure this shouldn't work. Well, this will work, right? So that works. But if we do it this way, yeah, this is crazy. That's definitely not going to work. So, or I guess we have to confirm by changing it to a different font size. Yeah. So, so we need to find some way to split these up. So instead of like that, it looks like this, right? Because then we're accessing the style property, and then we're accessing the sub property of font size, and then it'll work, right? So, okay. I think it must be 21 pixels. Okay, so how do we do that? So we have this watch function here. I think what we can do is let's just get it working first, and then we'll like make the code look pretty. So we're just gonna say like watch function name array. This is a terrible naming scheme, but we're just going to split that on periods. And if we, so if we see here, if we split this string on periods, that's going to give us an array of the different properties. You know, the parent property and then the nested property, which is exactly what we want. But what if we do that on a string that doesn't have a period in it? That's just going to give us an array with just one. So that's a pretty nice thing, because this is just going to, no matter what, it's going to give us all the properties that we need to access the sub-properties. So we can safely just do split on whatever function name comes in here. And then what we're going to do is, I think we can do this for each, and then we're going to pass in an anonymous function, and we're going to say, we'll just say name for now. Again, we'll clean this up later. We'll like make the naming better, but we're going to say name index. So name is going to be something like style, or something like style and then font size. And then we're going to do, let's see, so we need to keep track of the current property. So we're going to say current prop, and we're going to say, we're going to start with the watch element. This is like, again, super bad ways to name things, because this is, the element is obviously not a prop, but we're just playing around with it. We're just like trying to get it to work first. So then we'll do current prop is going to be equal to the nested one. And we're going to say if, we're only going to do this if the index plus one, or no, sorry. So we only want to go into the nested. Yeah. So let me try to explain kind of what we're trying to do. So with this, we have this string that represents multiple like nested properties on an object. And so if we have an element, we want to be able to call the first one and then the second one, and then on the second one we're going to set a value. So the index of this is 0, 1, right? And the length is 2. So I think we want to do like if index plus 1. So when do we want to do this up until? We want to do it up until the index is less than, index plus 1 is less than the length of this. I know might be a little bit confusing, but I think that's what we want to do. So here we want to do it for this one, but then if we're on that one, then we want to do current prop name, and then we just want to set it equal to the value. Okay, well, I think this should work. So what this should do is it's going to split the property. So we're going to get an array, and it's going to look something like this. Style, and then font size. And then we're going to get the current like object. So we'll just call this object, which we're setting to the element, because I don't know, that we're kind of treating the element like an object here. It's a weird naming again. Then we've got the list of props. So let's call it that. List of nested props. That's a slightly better name. And then for each of these, so we're going to loop through. It might just be one, right? So we might just have an array that's just one. So it might just be one. And if it's just one, then the index plus one, right? So 0 plus 1 is 1. Is not going to be less than the length, right? Because the length is 1. So we're going to immediately go to the else, and we're going to set the name of the prop, which is style. We're going to set that equal to the value of that the watch function is now being set to. And we're going to set that on the watch element. But if we pass in style here, and then we get something back. So let's assign this to the variable a. Let's see what a is. A is a CSS style declaration. So this is like a new kind of object. And now we can say a, and then we can do font size, and then we can do like 50 pixels. And now this font size is going to change, right? So that's this case, right? So if we've got more than one, right? So say we've got style and font size in this list of nested props. Then the first time we go through, this index is going to be 0 plus 1, and the length is going to be 2, right? So it is going to be less. 1 is going to be less than 2. And so then we're going to set the current object equal to current object, and then get the nested object from that, right? We're getting the CSS style declaration from that. And so that will allow us, so that'll reset the current object to the CSS style declaration. And then we're going to go through again. And the second time we go through, our index is going to be equal to 1. So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. That's going to not be less than the total length, which is 2. So we're going to immediately go to the else. And then we're going to say current object, which is the CSS style declaration. We're going to say current object CSS style declaration, and then get the style from that, and we're going to set that to the value that's being passed in. So this allows us to have multi-level, hey Black RMX3, hey Forsaken GM, hey Cash Bear, welcome back to the stream. So this allows us to set multiple, like it allows us to set like a nested property for an element. Hey Forsaken GM, have you been in the chat before? I don't think I've seen you before. How's it going? What are you up to? What do you like to do? Do you hate or like JavaScript? What are you working on? Do you have any side projects? Yeah, let us know. And if you have any like open source projects you're working on, feel free to post them in chat and tell people about them. Okay, so yeah. So if function is a valid property, ooh, a graduation project. So that's for high school or college or grad school or a code boot camp. What kind of thing are you graduating from? I'm gonna guess it's a code boot camp. Just because they're all about the projects, which is super, super helpful for people because building stuff is the best way to learn. Absolutely. But yeah, is it college or code boot camp or I guess those are my two top guesses. Okay, so if function is a valid element property, set that property to the new value, allow nested props. You're trying to figure out how to process data and get a result from a database. Okay, that sounds interesting. What kind of data are you processing, and what kind of database are you using? I think we have a lot of people familiar with with that kind of thing in the chat, so we might be able to help you a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna get the list of, we'll just call it a list of props, I guess. I think that's a better name. And then we're gonna do current object, I think is fine as a name. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then we're gonna say list of props, and for name, I think we can just say prop name. It's weird to use props because React uses props so much, and they mean something very specific in that, but it really just means properties, you know, so I don't know. I don't feel too bad using it. So let's test this out. So let's go here, and let's see if I can set something. To be honest, I have no idea how to even start. That's my next goal. I want to upload user data to a database and then run some code and get the result back and showcase it. I don't know how to even go about it. Huh, wow. I mean, that sounds like a big project. So the simplest way to start that, if you have like some flexibility around how to do it, would be to use Firebase. I think they're a really, really good way to go. But you could also use well, what I would recommend is just write all the all the code on the front end, and then you can like add a database later. Yeah, here's Salvin asking the right questions. Honestly, Salvin always comes in with like the best approach. So, yeah, yeah. What format is your data in? That's a good question. Although he might not, Forsaken GM. Sorry, I keep calling you he. I don't know your gender, but so Forsaken GM doesn't might not have any data yet. I guess that's a possibility. Um, but yeah, if you want to do it on the front end, what you could do is just use local storage. So local storage will survive refreshes. Um, so if you want to like uh, if you want to save some data, so say you want to save a string of 123 and you want to put it in the key ASD, you can just use your browser's tools to do that. And then if we refresh the page, that it acts kind of like a database. So we can get it back later. We can say, okay, what does ASD equal? And if we put that in the console, we're going to get back 123. So it lets you kind of have like a local database, and after you like play around with that and learn how to manipulate the data on the front end, then you can implement a backend database. But local storage can kind of be in place of your backend database for now. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to test this out. You can also just use the the Remake.js starter project if you want. Um, I mean, I don't know if you have any rules around this, but we literally have a framework for this. But yeah, Solvin's probably going to take you in the right direction. Yeah. Okay, so I want to test this out. I just want to do a console log here to make sure we're getting the right file loading here. Huh. Looks like it's not. So let's do an npm link. And then we're going to do npm link remake.js. Yeah, but like, I mean, PHP is pretty simple too. I'm sure there's like an example. Yeah, there's probably an example. Oh, nice. There's probably like a really simple example of PHP. Or actually, you know what? What's that one called? Glitch. Have you guys heard of Glitch? I think it's like one of the coolest startups. Um, but they let you like create whatever project you want on the web, and then you can share it with people. And I think they probably have an example of like a database one. So let's look at like the projects they have. Now let's search for like PHP database. I've always wanted to learn PHP. I should actually probably not be doing this because I want to be working on a different tool. But let's see. Oh, here we go. I think this SQLite is probably good. Um, for Glitch, so it's any backend actually. They support, well, no. I think it's a JavaScript backend, but I think you can use PHP with it too. Oh, okay. My bad. Um, why did they call this PHP? It looks like they don't even have PHP here. Oh, you're doing Angular. Um, well, This looks pretty good to me, honestly. I think you could, well, if you're using Angular, yeah, probably, probably you want to use Firebase. Um, but this looks pretty good. This is a pretty simple project. I'm going to share this with chat. How do I... Okay. So for anyone who wants like a cool, you want to do statistics of data. If you want to do lots of like back-end processing, Firebase is probably not the best approach. But anyways, yeah, this is a good starter project because it's like very basic code, and you're using a database, a local database, and you have very simple code for just like getting the index HTML and sending back. You want to display the statistics afterwards? Um, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, then Firebase is probably okay. But yeah, I don't know. This looks like such a cool project. Very simple. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Okay, so let's, why aren't we getting this? Okay. Huh. Oops. Hmm. Oh, I think it's because the server wasn't refreshing. Nope, that's not it. Okay, what is going on here? Oh, remake.js isn't building. Oh my goodness. There's so many things to remember. So we're gonna do npm run watch. Okay. And now I think, oh wait, okay, here we go. Console log, unexpected token. Oh, okay. Okay, well at least we know it's got the right place. Do they want to see that you connect to the database? You mean the examiner? Yes. Whoever, I mean, they probably will. I have no idea. I expect them to. So no shortcuts. What kind of shortcuts were you thinking about? Well, Angular Firebase is an example. Yeah, I mean, Forsaken, it probably, what have you learned about in class? I mean, if you learned about MySQL, they probably expect you to set up your own MySQL database. If you've learned about PHP or you've learned about JavaScript on the back end, they probably expect you to, set up your own server and then connect to that database. And then on the front end, if you're using Angular, then they probably expect you to set up your own Angular project. But it depends on what you've learned so far. I mean, if they're just giving you this project and you haven't learned anything yet, then I don't know. That sounds kind of crazy, but you probably have learned some stuff, right? Yeah. um, okay, so I'm going to do a console log here just to make sure this is running. So save that. That's not working, huh? So maybe I need a restart. Oh, wait. Oh. Okay. There we go. Nope. Still not working. Okay, what's happening here? What's happening here? There we go. We got the 1, 2, 3, finally. Okay, so now let's see if we get the nested data working. So first, let's just do the regular one. Boom. And we're still getting the console log. Okay, now we're not getting but what did you learn in class for second GM? Can you tell us the basics that you covered? Like, did you learn MySQL? Did you learn Node.js? Did you learn PHP? We need like some kind of starting point. Did you learn Angular, or did you just hear about it and you want to use it? Okay, so now let's try to do like a nested one. So we're going to go into TaskFellow, and we're going to go into templates. I'm going to go into the TAC, and instead of, I guess we'll set the inner text too. Oh no, we can't. We can't do more than one, can we? I actually don't remember. So you learned a bit of Angular and Ionic, so you need to do it like that. Okay. So those are front-end technologies, but you said you also knew a little SQL. Did they teach you SQL too? Nice. Yeah, from another class. But like, was that a prerequisite to this class? Or is that an unrelated class? Hey, Host Me Raffle. How's it going? It's unrelated. So the only thing you learned in this class were front-end technologies. You didn't learn any back-end technologies? And yet they want you to connect to a database? I don't know. I think then it's probably your choice then. I mean, if you're very clear that they don't have any expectations about it, then you can probably just go with what you want. And I think, in my opinion, Firebase is the easiest to get started with. But if you know SQL already and you're comfortable with either, I guess if you're comfortable with JavaScript, you could probably set up a really simple Node.js project with SQLite, right? So you could search for like Node.js SQLite starter. So like this looks like a pretty decent starting one. Starting tutorial. Looks a little complicated. Let's see, maybe this one's a little bit nicer. Nah, I don't know. The other one looked more thorough. Yeah, so I don't know. I'd probably go with like this one. It looks a tiny bit complicated, but you could probably figure it out. Hey Lurks, how's it going? This actually looks a tiny bit old-fashioned. They're using Bluebird, but well, I guess I don't know, maybe they just prefer that for promises, but promises are native now, so you don't really need that anymore. I mean, honestly, it's your choice. This is going to be, if you're going to become a web developer, this is going to be the thing you struggle with the most, is making decisions, making the technology decisions. There's just so many options out there. Um, in my opinion, if I was an instructor, I would be much more uh, impressed if you went with a build it yourself approach. Um, but I wouldn't be disappointed if someone used Firebase. You know, either way, you're going to have to do a decent amount of learning. Uh, it's just about what you want to do. I think long term for yourself, I would probably go with Node.js and SQLite. I think that's going to be, you're going to like learn more that it's going to have like a broader, uh, what do you call it? It's going to be more applicable to things that you're going to be working on in the future, right? Like you're going to use the concepts you learn by building something in SQLite and Node.js a lot more than you'd from Firebase. But yeah, I mean, Firebase is good too. Honestly, it's great too. Um, but I think the main thing, yeah, I think the main thing is just finding a really good tutorial, because I think the one I sent you is a little bit complicated. Like I wish there was just like a super simple one that was just like connect to the database, add some data, done. Yeah. Oh, the best. I found it. It's titled The Best Node.js SQLite Tutorial. Um, this one actually looks pretty good. But you know what sucks? This is part one. I bet they don't have a part two. How much you want to bet? No, they do. Okay, so okay, I automatically gained a lot of respect for this person because it's so common that you see like a part one and maybe even a part two, but then they don't complete the tutorial. But this looks pretty thorough. The thing is like, yeah, I mean, yeah, this has even user accounts and stuff. Um, yeah, try this one. This one looks awesome, honestly, because you said you wanted user accounts. Looks like they keep it pretty simple, and they're not using like weird things like Bluebird. Not that Bluebird's that weird. It's weird to use a promise library when promises are native now. Um, just a little weird. You know, it's kind of like using jQuery these days when regular JavaScript does so much. It's not like I look down on someone for doing it. It's just like, well, okay, that's what they're more comfortable with doing. Um, yeah, this looks good. I don't think this will allow you to like build the most secure app, but this is definitely the best tutorial I've seen in my very, very quick search. Yeah, no problem, Forsaken. Come by anytime and we will try to help you as much as we can. Um, okay, so I don't know if you guys noticed, but I was able to set style font size on this element by putting in 24 pixels, which is what we wanted. Look at this. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So now we added this new ability to remake. Let's publish a new version of remake. Because that's what we do. So wait, do I have to build it? Um, yeah, that's something I've been wanting to do for a while, like the multi-tiered, setting multi-tiered properties. Um, okay, let's see. Package JSON build. Okay, I don't think build does anything different, but just to make sure, let's run it anyways. That's like literally my job description most of the time. It'll probably work, but let's just, to be safe, do it anyways. Okay, this looks fine. Okay, so um, now we've added this feature. Let's say what it is. What is it? Allow nested prompts to be set by watch. Watch functions or watch attributes? I guess watch attributes. Watch attribute functions. Sure, you convinced me. Okay. Fun thing about talking to yourself on stream is I can pretend like you guys are the ones that were talking to me. Okay. So let's let's publish a new version. Okay, so we've got remake. We just pushed that out. So we're going to do npm version. Should this be a patch or a minor? Okay, I'm going to take a quick vote in chat. If I push a bug fix, that's a patch, right? But then if I push new functionality, that's a minor version. Is that true? I feel so weird about pushing out so many minor versions, but I think that's true, right? If it's any kind of new functionality, but it doesn't like make the API break, that's a minor version, right? Okay. And if it's a bug fix, that's a patch. Okay, npm version minor, npm publish. Awesome. Thank you, Salvin. Okay, and then we're gonna do, oh, not npm push, git push. Yeah, it's so nice. Like version and publish feels so good to just type. Cause it's just like, ooh, I don't know, it just feels so good. I was like so scared of it for so long. I was like, oh no, I'm building a public library and I could totally mess this up. Yeah, like what if I type in npm version major? That would be a big mistake. That would be pretty funny. Okay, so now we've got this new version of remake. I think we're done with working on remake for now. And I think we want to do this. Yeah, I think that, yeah, they would just be confused. I wonder if there's a way to undo it though. Like, if you put out a new major version, can you reverse it somehow? Sebastian13, what's up? How's it going? What are you working on? What do you like to do? Do you hate JavaScript? Do you like JavaScript? Yeah, what's up? Um, yeah, yeah, it'd be kind of cool if you could do that. Or like if you accidentally release like version 1.0 and you're like, oh, this wasn't ready for public release yet. I want to go back to like version zero point 0.6 where I just was, you know? Like I wonder if you can do something like that. Oh, okay. Huh. Okay, okay, okay. Awesome. Thanks for looking that up, Salvin. That's awesome. Um, okay, so for the stream, for the rest of the stream, which is going to be like a, a little bit, yeah, Google is like my mentor. Um, yeah, it's definitely taught me more things than any human being has. Okay, to do stream. Um, so we're gonna build like a I guess like a choose your own adventure web app. Um, and so the specification, Salvin's excited about this. So the specification is going to be like the steps. So like each step has some text and some choices. Nice. Yeah, so I'm a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit weird the way I'm thinking about doing it. So I'm thinking about, I mean, it's not super weird, but like I'm thinking about like an object, and then you have like the text for the step, and then you have choices, and then for each choice, you have an object, right? And you have the text, and then you have the choices. So I think in a normal like choose your own adventure type setup, you can go back to one of the previous steps. You know, like say like in the beginning of the choose your own adventure, it says like there's a monster. You know, do you fight it or do you go back home and like run away? And you choose to fight it, but then like down the road, you know, it says there's another monster. Do you choose to fight it or go home? Then if you say go home in that final time, it's going to take you back to the same place it would have taken you back to if you chose go home the first time, right? It's just like multiple storylines can have a single endpoint. But with this, I'm thinking it's just going to branch and branch and branch and branch, which is kind of unfortunate for the writer of the story because they can't reuse any of the story branches basically. But it makes it super simple to implement, which is good for me. Um, yeah. Okay, so unless you set parts in a hash and then reference the parts in the choices. I have no idea what you mean. Whoa, that was a good stretch. Oh man, I was a little embarrassed to do that on stream, but that was an amazing stretch. Okay. What did you mean by that, Salvin? Um, unless you set parts in a hash. I'm not sure what that means. Okay, so I guess to start out, we're going to remove this TaskWheeler project, and we're going to copy it. Okay, so let's say you have one text, choices. Okay, yep. Look at this is amazing. My node modules, I think, are just so many files. I have like 20,000 files in this project. Um, so yeah, the yeah. Well, I think so the problem is with remake, there's no way to do that easily. Like if I'm on okay, so like let's say I'm on this step in remake, right? So this is going to be the full page. We're just going to show the text and the current choices. If I'm on this step, there's no easy way to reference the data here currently in remake. You can't, it's not like Vue.js where you can get like the parent data. Um, that doesn't exist. It probably should. Yeah. But I'm gonna just implement like the simple version now, and then maybe it'll inspire me. So like the kind of the plan is like one, these streams are kind of a tutorial, but two, if I come across features that I'm like, oh, that would be really cool to have, uh, yeah, exactly, yeah, I can build it as a new feature down the road. So yeah, part of these tutorials is like to figure out, oh yeah, what could I do to make this even better? So what should we call this? I think we're gonna call it something like adventure, but maybe it's like adventure or something, you know, like some play on adventure. Add dentures. Um, uh, add. It would be cool if it was like if it referenced the like multi-story aspect of it. Like add. It's another word for venture that implies it's like in a multi-universe. I don't think there's a word for that. Add adventure, 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 adventure. Huh. Define venture. No, define adventure. I guess we could just name it something pretty similar. Adventure. We'll just say adventure story. That's fine. Adventure story. There we go. That's the name of our new project. We're going to add that here. And I need to stop streaming in about an hour. So I'm going to try to stay super focused. If anyone asks like questions or whatever, I'm probably not going to be super detailed in my answers. Unfortunately. So I'm going to be pretty focused on just building. Okay, so let's go to our adventure. 42, that's an easy one. Okay, so we're gonna do get. Oh wait, no, we need to remove get. So we're gonna do this. Wait, what? Oh, RG. Imagine if G did something. Imagine if G was just like global or like go to the top directory. Okay, so now we're in a fresh repository. We've gotten rid of the git. We've gotten rid of node modules. So now we're going to add it to Git. So we're going to go File, New Repository, Adventure Story, and create repository. And let's look at our initial commit. That all looks fine. Okay. And unfortunately, it's a tiny bit harder to set up than the previous time because we need to copy. Oh wait, we did copy this. Okay, but we need to have a different database for this. So we're going to say adventure, and the database name is going to be adventure, and I don't know, we're going to change this. I don't know why. I'll have to change that before we deploy it anyways. So I don't know. Probably doesn't matter that much that I changed it. Okay, so then we're going to do npm install. And it's going to install like a million, billion, bajillion packages. Hey, JBson, are you named after that data type, Bson? Or are you a son and your middle name is B? So are you like J, B, and then your son? Or are you J Bison? Bison. Is the Bson short for bison? I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm literally curious. Okay, so let's run dev. Oh no. What happened? What happened? J Bson is a library for building and iterating Bson data and JSON documents. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I thought it was like a data type or something. Oh man, We already lost JB-san. I think you got tired of me talking about him. Oh, I should have learned. Nice. I like it. That's very helpful, I think. I mean, I learn something every time you do it. Nice. I appreciate that. Okay, so we failed. There's probably not a problem with, okay. Well, let's look at the output. So if we, can I open a path here? Okay, I guess we'll just cd into here. Oops, or we'll cat this. It didn't really tell me anything extra, did it? Context API and React can drop dead. Yeah. I think React's getting a little too complicated for me. Yeah. I mean, the thing about Redux and all that stuff is it's like it's just global state, you know? Like I feel like sure components are nice and everything like that, but we're really going back to some like pretty crazy stuff where when I first started programming, people were like, never do this. You know, like they were like, never have global state, never mix your styles with your HTML, never like inline JavaScript. And now like everyone's all about it. It's crazy stuff. And I think it's leading to a lot of the same problems that we are trying to escape before, you know? Like I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think if you write things really well and you pay attention to your code, you know, you're going to write good code and it's going to be maintainable, but yeah, but that's the same thing for jQuery, you know? You know what, Sullivan? You're advocating for jQuery right now. That's what I think. Yeah, but it's the exact same thing with jQuery or what was that old framework that everyone used? Backbone JS. It's the same thing. Um, was it? I never used it. I think I skipped right into Knockout JS, which was pretty cool, to be honest. I like Knockout. It reminds me a lot of Vue.js. But it's the same thing as Vue.js. What are you talking about? Why do you like Knockout? I mean, Knockout, it was a little weird. I'll give you that. And it didn't really have components, but yeah. You know, yeah. No, I mean, it's all about the way you organize the code. I guess the nice thing about Vue.js and React.js that I can say is that they have like opinions about the way you should organize the code, which makes a lot of sense. You know? Yeah. I think that's one of the best things about them. Yeah. I think it got a lot of inspiration from Knockout because I wrote a lot of Knockout. I wrote like 2.5 years of Knockout. Then I've been working with Vue.js lately, and it's just like, oh, this is just like Knockout. But okay, you want to hear the craziest thing about Knockout? So Knockout, so like you organize all your data, and you have like all the reactive components, and like you tie data to like different components, and then whenever that data changes in your model, the element is going to update, right? And so it's just like all normal kind of reactive stuff. But it had this crazy thing where you could call a function, a knockout function, on an element, and it would give you back the data model for that element. So, the normal approach of like React and Vue.js is to like create the model, and then that goes into the elements and determines how they look and what their text and whatever is. And you don't go back. You don't go back the other way. But Knockout had this secret function that let you go back the other way, where not only was the model reactively updating the DOM, with two-way data binding, but you could go into the element itself and say, hey, what's your data? And then you could grab its data, and then you could modify that data to update it. And so we use that at my company, at my job, and it was like the hackiest thing ever because like we already have the data model. We already have all the data. But then we were like, it would just be quicker in this case to just get the data directly from the element here and then we'll just like update it. And so we had this like reactive chain of like the model is updating the element, but then we're getting the data from the element and then we're updating that model and then that's triggering another update to the data. And then like we might like it might have to go around you know, it's like crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So that's why I created a remake because that project drove me insane. And now I'm crazy enough to create my own framework. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was actually like a pretty cool tool. Um, Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. That makes me feel good and bad because I kind of really like the like simple elegance of Knockout, but over time, our Knockout project did become a nightmare to maintain, like a total nightmare. The two-way data binding really gets you. You know, React is just like, give me data, I'll output a view. Give me data, I'll output a view. It's really nice like that. But Knockout is like, give me data and I will get caught into an infinite loop and take like memory leak all over the place. Yeah, crazy stuff. Okay, so I still have no idea what's going on. Yeah, definitely. Uh, what is going on here? Oh, live reload's already being used. Okay, so we just need to quit that project. Okie dokie. Okay, so let's go back into our project, and it should look exactly the same pretty much. Uh, okay, finally it built. Okay, so for this one, let's like design it real quick. Just like what, I mean, we already kind of did. It's just gonna look like this. Um, but like let's just like put some text in here and stuff and just like make it kind of look like we want it to look. Oh man, my time's like running out. I gotta focus. Sullivan, stop distracting me. Um, just kidding. Okay, so we're gonna say there's a dark cave. Do you go inside to explore or run away? That's gonna be the choices. And then here, we're gonna say um, go inside and run away. And then that's going to lead to another page like this. And we're going to say like, you went into the dark cave, a bear ate you, you died. And then it's going to be like, go to heaven and hang out with the angels, or be reincarnated as a dog. Okay, so the only thing about this is when you click on one of these stories, you should be able to edit this text. But then we also need the ability to go in and choose this option. So for a user, for like a non-logged in user, choosing the option is just going to be as simple as clicking on it. So I think we just also need an edit button. An edit button over here for the logged in user when they're editing it. And I guess actually we can put that on the outside so that it looks as similar to the final version as possible. So we're going to have an edit button over there and an edit button over there. And you don't really need to click on this as to do anything. So we can just have clicking on that bring up the edit. And then for here, for the second step, we're going to have a back button at the top. Although, like I said before, there's no real way to access the previous one. So I think we're going to just have that trigger like the history back for now, which kind of sucks, but that's fine. Okay, so adventure story. Okay, so this is our amazing wireframe from this. Hey, Xwits, uh, Xwizits, Xwizit, how's it going? Okay, so we've got edit buttons for that, and clicking on them will go to the next one. And yeah, I think that's it. So now we just need like the choice text. So the way we're going to organize the data, if we go here, so we're going to have like the parent level text, or sorry, the main text, right? Which is going to be like the adventure story. So let's like paste this in there just as an example. And just for anyone who's curious, we're building a like multi-level adventure, choose your own adventure story web app, and we're trying to do it in the next 45 minutes, which is crazy. I don't know if we're gonna finish or not. I don't think we will. But the other thing we need for each choice is hey, Flipcoder, how's it going? Is so other than the text, is we need like the like short text or the choice text. So I think what we're going to call that is the choice text. And then we're going to say like go inside for that text. Right? Because then oh, you were sleeping. That's actually super healthy. I applaud that choice. Okay, so then we're going to have run away, and then we're going to say you ran away and lived happily ever after. Okay, and then we're going to say adventure story data. So Flipcoder and Angel of Light. Just so you guys know, we are working on a multi-level adventure web app. We just started it, and we're going to finish it within the next 43 minutes. So, super focus mode, right? Okay, let's go into templates, partials. We're going to delete this guy because we no longer need him. We're going to go into pages. We're going to go into stack and delete. No, we're going to need something like that. Okay, so let's go into index, and we can build all of this from scratch, except for this. We're going to say, welcome to Adventure Story, make your dreams come true, because I can't think of anything else right now. I don't know what this means, but sure. Make your dreams come true. That sounds good. Okay, so for the app, we're gonna delete this. We're gonna have a padding 2 on the app, that's fine, and we're gonna do save deep, that's fine too. And we're gonna only do that if there's a user. Okay, so now let's refresh our home page. Okay, welcome to Adventure Story, make your dreams come true. I don't know what that means. Okay, but that's fine. We're not gonna worry about it. In the head, we need a title. An image, Salvin? Really? An image? Do you know how much time I have right now? Okay. What was the other part though? Do you want to play again? Hello player. I actually like that. Hello player. Oh man, that's a Saw reference. Salvin, I can't do that. That movie is so insane. Okay, whatever. We'll do it. I like it. I like it. Okay, let's do it. Jeez, this is dark now. This is like super dark. I like wanted to make it like a happy, fluffy thing, and Salvin's like, oh man, whatever. We'll do it. Okay, so we'll do that, and then in our config, we put Adventure Story. Why aren't we getting adventure story here. It must be because we hard-coded this. Okay, so we're gonna say title. Okay, title. We don't have time for the spaces. Why are we putting spaces? Okay, so we'll refresh. Okay, so now we've got adventure story, blah, 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 blah. Okay, what's going to be the name of our adventurer? We're going to say like Peanut is going to be the adventurer, and for our password, we're going to have ASD, ASD, ASD. Okay, so now we're inside of our adventure web app, logged in as Peanut, and we're rendering this page. Okay, so let's see. So we're going to have, this might actually be kind of hard. Okay, so we're going to, we need that for each thing. I always forget how to do the for. Okay, so it's just for blah, blah, blah in that and for. That's it, it's simple. And I just include this. Okay, whatever. Okay, so we're going to say for story in stories. I don't know if that makes sense. No, it's just going to be for story. Oh, so is the top level going to be an array? Does that make sense? Okay, let's see. So if we want the... This is hard. Okay, so no, I think the home page, we're just going to render the include. Yeah, so we're just going to render the include, and we're going to do partials story index.njk, and so we'll rename this, or I don't know, we'll create a new one. That's fine, because I just want to keep the old version just in case I forget some of the syntax of nunchucks, so I have a quick reference, which is kind of a crazy reason to keep something around, but whatever. And we're going to do data.json. Oh, I forgot something in our original design. So we need a way to create like a new story. So we're going to have like new down here. Okay, so we have like a new button down here. Yeah, that's fine. There's a lot to do. Okay, so we've got the story, and we're gonna say, yeah. I think like new choice. I think probably choice. Because it's gonna be, in this context, it's gonna be the choice. I mean, it's gonna it's gonna expand into a story, but I think in that context, it's gonna be a choice. Okay, so we'll say class story, and I think the design in this first version is going to be very minimal because I'm not going to have time to do design and implementation. So we're going to kind of short circuit the design piece. Okay, so we've got the partials story index.njk, and we're loading the story, and we're just going to say hello story just to make sure. Yeah, I can do the design piece tomorrow. Okay, so we've got hello story rendering. Okay, so yeah, let's just get it so that we have the choices. So let's put this into a div, and then we're gonna say class story underscore underscore choices, and then each choice is gonna be, I think, a link. I think that makes the most sense. But we want these to be display block, so we're going to go into utilities, and we're going to create a new helper that's just called block, and we're going to do display block. And then we're going to attach class block to all these. Okay, and then so for each choice, so now we need our for. So we're going to say for story in. I guess we can say for choice. So we're going to say for choice in story dot, and I think we're saying choices, right? Yeah, choices. We're going to include an anchor tag. And we're going to point this to story and then the ID. So we're going to do choice dot ID. And this is something that we recently implemented. And then we're going to do choice dot text, or no, sorry, choice dot choice. Choice dot, what do we call it? Choice text. Okay, that's a good name for it. Okay, so now we need to like bootstrap this with some data. Okay, so we've got the regular data object, and we've got the story choices. So here we're going to say data o type is list. Data o key. I actually have no idea at this point if this is even gonna work. Like if remake is gonna be good for building something like this. I kind of think it will be, but I'm still not sure. Okay, and then we're not going to be able to bootstrap that. Huh. So we need to have at the bottom, we're going to have a link, and we're going to do another block, and we're going to say href is a hash, and we're going to say new choice. So I have no idea if this is going to work. This is a little bit weird, but we're going to say data I new, and we're going to tell it the template name is story, and we want to insert it here. Okay, so then that's not going to work. So yeah, we want to insert a story choice here. Okay, because the story choice is going to be the this, the anchor tag, whereas the full story is going to be this. So we need to adapt. So we're going to say story choice, and then in here we're going to have some index.njk and some data.json. And inside of here we're just going to have this. So we have block and then story choice ID and choice text. So then for the data.json, let's just take this as an example. So this is expecting a choice.id and a choice.text. Unfortunately, we can't really help with the ID, but we can help with the text. The ID will be signed automatically. And I actually have to turn that on because I made that an option. So we're going to say auto-generate unique IDs is true. Okay, then we're going to say default choice text. Now, yeah, so I forgot something in the design. So I think we want to add something at the top that says like you chose something, you chose so and so. So we're going to say like choice and we'll bold that, and then we're going to say that for the choice. So we'll say like your choice was go inside, and then we'll have the rest of the stuff. And that'll just make it so like when we're editing this page, this is the only thing we're going to have to start out with, and then they're going to have to fill in the rest of it. Okay, so I still don't know if this is going to work. I guess we could test it out. I'm like super nervous about this. Let's see. Let's see. So wait, what is this going to do? This is going to create this. This is so weird. So choices, story. I don't even know what's going to happen here. Let's find out. So I think this might just do nothing. Okay. So choices will be nested. Yeah, so this is the data structure we're going after. So this is like the top level story of text. And then it's going to have, each story is going to look exactly like this, where it has the text and then it has the choices array. And then you see here, we just repeat. So the only thing extra is the choice text, because this is like the short text that you use for the choice. But then you have the text repeated and then choices. And then every choice inside of here is going to look the same as this. So if it's first going to have the choice text, and then the text, and then the choices. So it's just going to be infinitely nested in here like that. Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, so this didn't work. I wonder what happened. So I clicked new choice, and what this should do is it should render the index.njk inside of the story choice partial. Oh, I might need to restart the server because it might not know that that partial exists yet. I think that's what's happening. Nope, that's not what's happening. Oh wait. No, I think that's, let's see. Oh, it did add it. It added it, but it didn't have any text for it. And it even got the ID. Woohoo! That's awesome. Wow, remake is super easy to use. Okay, so it didn't have the choice text. Oh, because it's called choice text. It's not called text. Okay, so let's refresh this and do new choice. Nice. Okay, so minor problem. We're gonna put this outside of this so that it adds it above it. Amber Code, how's it going? And that didn't save either, which is unfortunate. Although kind of fortunate, right? Because we don't really need it. Okay, and let's see what our data looks like. So if we go into temp data, we go into peanut. Oh. Yeah, it's not saving the data yet, I think. I think it's not saving the data yet. Right? Or wait, no. Maybe it is saving the data, but it's extending the existing data, so yeah, it is. Okay, so let's go into our database and just clear out the existing data because we don't need that stuff. So we're just going to connect to our database, and then we're going to go into adventure. I think we're just going to, should we drop the whole thing? Let's just drop the whole thing, right? Yeah, we'll just drop the whole thing. And then let's go back, and now we're going to have to sign up for an account. And we're going to say peanut, ASD, sign up. Okay, so now we should have what uh why? Why is it what is the okay, let's see what's going on here. So if I go into adventure, I go into users. Oh, it's because of the starting data. Yeah, this is another new feature. Um, okay, so I have starting data in here, which is like added to every new user. Oh man. Okay, so we want an empty object. I think we just want an empty object. I don't think we really care about anything else. So let's log out. Unfortunately we need to come up with a new name other than peanut. Um, so we'll say, what's a cute name that starts with S? Shellfish, shellfish, and we will use the same thing for the password. There we go. Okay, so now if we look at shellfish's data, let's delete John's data and peanut's data. And we've got shellfish's data, boom, we just got the ID of the top level data. And now if we add a new choice and we refresh, we got choices, but we didn't get any data inside of that. Okay, and that's because, and that's for a very good reason, because we don't have any data attached to this. So not only are we not saving the ID, which we could be doing by doing choice.id, but we're not saying that this isn't even an object. So we need to say data o type equals object. So now it'll know it's an object, now it'll save its ID. Now the other thing it needs to know is the choice text. Okay, and then we're going to pass in choice dot choice text. Okay, so now let's yeah, I guess we'll refresh and we'll do new choice. Oh man, it's still not happening. Okay, so well, okay, wait, progress. So we've got the new data saving. We're not rendering it. So if we go in here and we go into our choices, none of those are rendering. Okay, so let's go here and we're gonna say, oh, so this is gonna be data.choices instead. That's fine. Okay, so now we've got our default choice back. If we look at the data, this matches up exactly, and if we go in here, we're going to see we have the ID and then we have the story ID. So that's pretty easy. I mean, relatively easy. It's a tiny bit hard. I think there's a few new features that have made it a little bit more difficult, which is pretty unfortunate. But we also have this ID thing, which makes it a lot easier to do nested stuff. Okay, so let's do the nested story, right? So let's, we need a new template for that, which is going to be called story. Wait, no, we need a new page for that, right? Okay, so let's do a new page, and we'll call that story. Just to confuse ourselves, we'll name the page the exact same thing as the partial we're using. And we'll do index.njk, oops, njkl, no, njk, and then we're going to do config.json, and for the config, we're going to do something really cool, which is just pass in this thing called ID, adventure story. Okay, so we're going to say story ID, and then in here, so this is where things get a little bit complicated. So let's close all this stuff. So inside the story, I think we want this to look like our home page. Kind of. Well, what do we even do here? All we do is we include the story. So maybe we could just do that here. Let's see what happens. So if we refresh this and then we click here, pretty nice, right? So we didn't get the head and we didn't get the footer, but if we add those in and we, I guess, add a div around this that has a padding of 2 rem around it, I think it's going to look pretty decent. So now we've got this and we're on the story page. So now let's see, what is our data going to look like here? So if we look at our, no, not our starting data, our temp data. So if we look at our current users data, we're going to see we've got this ID, then we've got choices, and then we've got this object with ID of this. And so this is the context for the current page. So this object is automatically going to be assigned to something called current item in the current context. So if we look at this story partial, we're going to see we're using data.choices yeah. Okay. So I think what we want to do is is ignore the current data context. So we're going to do we're going to reset the data. So we're going to do set data equal to current item. Not a best practice. I'm not quite sure what to do instead. So we're going to overwrite this data, which is the main app data. It's the top level data. And we're going to overwrite that with the current item, which represents the current story. So if we do that and we refresh, now we have hello story. Wait, is that what we should have? No, we should have default choice text. Set data. Where is, oh, okay, we hard coded this. So this should be instead, what should this be? What did we say the data structure looked like? Let's go back and get that data structure. So we're going to say text. Okay, so we're going to say data.text. Now the problem with this is we haven't actually saved any text yet. So we need a place for the story to go. So let's go into our current, yeah, right here. So let's add like a class of padding 2, and then we're gonna hard code a style in here, which is something I really don't like to do, but in this case, when we're a little rushed, it's okay. So we're gonna just add like a light gray background. Okay, so now we've got the main story inside of this light gray background thing. And we can't edit it yet because we haven't made it editable. We haven't even attached any data to it. So first of all, we're going to say it's got a data O type of object, so that'll make it be able to have data on it. Although actually, we probably want to put this on the top level story because one of the rules about remake is like, usually try to attach the data pretty high up as you can. It just makes things more convenient in the long run. It's not something you like necessarily have to do, but it just makes it nice. So we're going to say text is going to be equal to data.text, and then in order to mirror that down here, we're going to do a data w key text, and we're going to set that to the inner text. So this will mirror the text up here, this key. It'll mirror it inside of the inner text of this element, and that just makes sure that this element stays up to date whenever the data changes. Okay, so the other thing we need to do is make this editable. So this is a story, so we probably want a multi-level editable element. So we'll say data I editable, and first we need the key that we're editing, which is text. And then we're going to do text multi-line. Okay. So now if we refresh, we should be able to click on this. Nope. Huh. Okay. Oh, I put it on the wrong place. But it should still come up, I think. So I put it on this parent element by mistake. But, I mean, I meant to put it down here. But that shouldn't matter. I guess we'll move it. But I'm imagining it still won't work. If it starts working now, there's a bug with remake, which would be unfortunate. Okay, good. There's not a bug with remake. I'm just doing something wrong. So we put the data I editable. Is this? Oh, I know what it is. I'm not loading the JavaScript file here. So if we go back to the home page, we'll see we're loading this here. So let's instead move this to our footer because we shouldn't have to include this manually on every page. Okay, so now if we just weren't loading remake at all on this page before. Okay, so now we have it editable, and let's paste in our demo text. So we're going to say you went into a dark cave, a bear ate you, you died. We'll save that. Now if we refresh, it didn't work. Okay, wait, what's happening? Let's go into our data. Okay. So it's not saving because there's no save attribute on this page. Okay, so we have this class of story on here, but we're not saving anywhere. So we need to have a data o save deep attribute. Although, do we want to save deep? I don't think we want to save deep. I think we just want to save. So we're going to save, and then we're going to pass in an ID to save to. And to be honest, I forget what the exact syntax is for that, which is super embarrassing. Okay, so I think it's just ID colon. So let's actually just use that because I think it's just ID colon. So we're going to do ID colon, and then we're going to do data.id. And we also want to attach the ID to this. Yep, we got IDs now. It's going to be very useful for this project too. I'm a little worried about how complicated this is getting though. It's a little bit complicated, but I mean, this wouldn't even be possible without IDs, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's paste our text again. Let's try to save it. Now if we refresh, it's saved. So that means that it's saved to this ID, which is awesome. So now we can update our text. Now, there's a minor problem here. So the reason why I did a regular save and not hey, electrical longboard, how's it going? So the reason I did a regular save here and not a save deep is that if we did a save deep, we would also save all of these choices. The problem with saving these choices is that the only data on these choices, I mean, it's not even here right now, but so what we should probably be doing is including the choice. Where Where is this? The story choice. Where am I including the story? I guess I'm not including the story choice anywhere. So we want to use this include syntax, and then we want to do story choice. Okay. But so the only data on each of these story choices is right here, right? So we have the ID, the text, we have the ID and the text, but the full data that we need for this is all of the nested choices plus the text itself, right? Not just the choice text. So if we, the problem with the way the data is saved right now is that it overwrites any nested arrays. So all of the data on your nested arrays needs to be all of the data on your nested arrays needs to be fully spec'd out. All of the data needs to be there because it's all going to get overwritten. But the problem we're running into here is that, hey Sega Man QQ, is that we only have partial data on this. So if we create a new choice here, right, and I look at this choice, we have the ID on it and we have the choice text on it, but we don't have the regular text on it. So you may be wondering, well, why not just add the regular text on it? Well, that's fine too. We could add the regular text, but then what about the nested choices? We're not going to add that in here too, right? I mean, that's like some hidden element. That's crazy. And the problem with that is that when we save this whole page, so say we do a save deep, we're going to overwrite this choice list with a flat choice objects. And so they're not going to have any of their nested data. They're going to lose all their nested data. So what I chose to do instead is do a flat save at the top level. And that works because all we really want to save for this element is the text. So as long as that's on the current element, we don't do a deep save, we're just going to save the data on the current element and we're all set to go. And that's part of the reason we want to move all of the data up to the top level element, because it makes it easier to do stuff like this. Yeah, this framework's getting more and more complicated, but I still think it's a super easy way to build out web apps. I just think, yeah, it's got a few rules, so and that's unfortunate. I wish, but I don't know. We're trying to do something fairly complicated here, so I think it's kind of appropriate that that we're running into kind of a few best practices, you know, at this point, just for like how you should organize your code. I think it's fine. But I'm a little nervous about it. Just because I think, you know, the framework has to be super, super simple in order for it to succeed in this kind of climate of a new framework coming out every few hours. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we have this flat save up here. Now the problem is that when we add a new choice, we also want that to save. And we want that to do kind of a flat save, but not really. It's really a problem. Yeah, it's a problem. So the thing is like, okay, even if we do, so say we create a new item, and then we do, so we have a couple options. We could do a save on that new item, which wouldn't do anything, because that's just going to call a save function with that ID, and that ID is not in the database yet. What we're trying to do is get that ID in the database. So we have to do it on a parent element. It has to be on the list element, so it has to be on the choices. Now if we trigger save on the choices, these choices, they have a path, so we could kind of compute the path, I guess, for these choices. That's a little bit difficult, but let's say we did it. Let's say we managed it and we're saving to a path. So it's something like, story ID, blah, 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 choices, story ID, blah, 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 choices. And then we finally get to this version, this choice. And we say, okay, just save this one. Then we're still going to be overwriting the nested data for each of the choices. So I think the best option in this scenario is we need to rewrite the back end of Remake, of the full stack Remake framework, and the way that we save data. So the current way, and I've been thinking about this for a while, I just don't know how to do it. So the current way we save data, if we go into the API routes. So we have this support for saving to the path, we have this support for saving to ID, but the default for all of these is to deep extend. So you'll notice this a lot. We have it 3 different times, we deep extend. And that means that we're trying not to lose any data. We're trying to extend all the objects and nested keys as much as possible so that we don't lose any data. The problem with deep extend is that by default, it is customizable, but by default, it's not going to extend nested arrays. It's just going to overwrite them because it's not clear how do you want to extend nested arrays. What should happen if you have an array and you have another array, and this first array has A is 1 and this second array has B is 2. Now what should happen here? Should this transition into A1 B2, right? What should be the output? Should it look like that, or should it look like should it just match on the first one, right? Or I guess this would be matching on the first one, or should it add them together, right? So maybe it just adds them both, or maybe if it's just one item, it should replace it, right? And then maybe if you had 2 items, right? So you had like C3 over here as another object, then maybe it replaces it, for the first one, but then it will add the second one in here, right? It's just very unclear what should happen. And so what they do is they just say, just replace it. Replace this entire array with this array. Now what I think I would prefer, and I have to think through this because, like I said, I thought through this a little bit, but I haven't really thought through it in detail. So if these all have IDs, yeah, I really don't want to add front-end operations flipcoder. I want it to be kind of automatic on the back end. I think for advanced use cases, it's fine, but I prefer that to be custom code, not built into any part of the framework. I just want it to be as automatic as possible. Like this framework is meant for like beginners to coding, people who are like, really young or just starting out coding. It's meant for them, and they should be able to understand it very, very quickly. And I think, we're getting a little further away from that with IDs, but I'm comfortable with them as it is. But I think, it took me a lot to even just build in IDs. So what I would prefer to happen here, so say we have this situation, we have this and we have this. The output I would prefer from this is, in this second example, we deleted this element. So the output I would expect is we get the object with ID of 1, and that's it. And it should be extended. So this object should be extended with this object. And yeah, and then this one should go away because it doesn't match on an ID. So that's a little bit harder to implement than a deep extend. Um, but yeah, that's what I would prefer. So I think if we implemented that, then all of a sudden this multi-level story would be a lot easier to implement. Yeah, so this is how it currently works. Ice cream codes. We are adding a new ID to each of these elements. Um, so you can see here. But the problem we're running into is if we have another level of nested choices down here, the way remake works, um, so like if you're updating this top level uh, element with this ID, the way remake works is it's gonna overwrite this choices array with a simplified version of the choices, just because it's going to be based on the data that's currently in the DOM. You could just nest the indices themselves and leave all the stories flat. I don't know what you mean by that. You could just nest the indices themselves and leave all the stories flat in the main choices array. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're talking about like having two different data structures. So you would have one that would be like ID, blah blah blah, and then children, and then like the same thing, right, for this. And then uh, and then you'd have a separate data structure that would have like the matching ID. So I don't know, it'd be like story ID, like that, and then the text, and then I didn't make this an object. Um, so and then you would match one against the other, right? Yeah, I think Remake just doesn't have support for this right now. Like I think we could do this. Ideally, ID would be a key. Oh, a key. You'd have to join by index though. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of just I don't know, like I was talking about here, where when we're saving the data, we just match nested objects on their ID, and then we extend those ones. And then if there's any missing ones, in the new data, we remove those. And if there's any new ones, we just add them. I think that would be ideal for me. I think it's definitely going to take a few nights of like brainstorming, or maybe a night on how to do that. I don't think I don't think it's that hard. It's not like super super hard. Um, I mean, I'm not sure, but I don't think it's super super hard. But anyways, I'm gonna stop the stream for now. I was telling people earlier that at my regular job, I usually don't work on Thursdays, but this week I have to because I'm going on vacation next week and there's a big project I have to finish up. So the rest of the day, I actually have to do work. I would much rather hang out with you guys, honestly, and just like code for the next hour and a half. But unfortunately, I have a regular job that I got to get back to. Yeah, I will be in Discord later tonight, and I will also be on tomorrow from probably around 11 to around 2. Um, ooh, that sucks, ice cream code. Sorry to hear about that. Yeah, I would definitely prefer working for a few more hours um, on a paid project than getting a root canal. That definitely sounds not as good. I'm very sorry to hear that. Um, we will be sending you good vibes, ice cream codes. Yeah, good luck, dude. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'll be on, I think, around 11. Sometimes I start a little late, so maybe 11:30. Um, but I'll be going from around then until around 2 or 2:30 tomorrow. Okay, I'll see you guys. Peace.